My dad passed away 2 years ago, 4 days after I got married. On my honeymoon, I got a phone call from my sister with my mom crying in the background, explaining to me that my father had passed. And I have never truly been able to recover from it. Uh, on this episode of the Sammy Rigo podcast, if you're new, go ahead and subscribe. Turn your notifications on. Um, like this video, share it. My attempt today is to be vulnerable and also give hope to somebody who might relate to what I'm talking about. I got the idea to share this because y'all know I'm a hip hop guy. I was watching the clips. They're coming out with a new album and they're promoting it. And, you know, that's like, I love the clips. I love Pusha T. I love No Malice. Like, I like them. And they were doing their promo run. They're doing an interview. And they asked them all these questions. Everything's going fast. It's all cool. They're all like they're bragging. It's fly talk. And then they started talking about their parents that passed away. And then the interview just got slow, and the volume got down. I had to put the volume up, and it triggered something inside of me because I feel like that's how I'm living. I feel like for the most part, I'm going fast. I'm going fast. I can do a bunch of things. And then once like we start talking about that and grieving, and I just kind of slow down. And my daughter, who was born in May, she's growing in front of my eyes. And everybody's giving me all these compliments. Dad, this. I celebrated my first Father's Day. And I don't know. The anniversary came up, and I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking. Uh, I'll give you guys some background. I proposed to my wife in November of 2022, and it was beautiful. I was so happy, and I was ready. So I didn't have a lot of time. I didn't think I needed a lot of time for the wedding. I was like, hey, we're ready. Let's do it quick. And as we wanted to do it quick, um, we set for June. Do my bachelor stuff. Everything's cool. And then in April, like I randomly get a call like on a Wednesday night that my dad fell and had a stroke. And my dad was 82, and up until 80, like he was fully functional. He would go play bingo, he would do everything. He would travel, he would everything on his own volition. Like he had all his functioning great. And I'm like, okay, so he got a stroke. Okay, cool. Like, he had one 10 years before. But, it'll be fine. And it just went worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And as I was getting ready, one of the most sentimental things I had, I um wanted to buy a suit with him at the place that he took me when I was younger. So I kind of held off on that. Everybody else had their clothes. My wife had her dress. All my groomsmen had theirs. Everybody had theirs. And I'm like, no, I'm going to wait because he's going to leave the hospital. And I'm sure he's going to, like, I wanted that moment. It never happened. And I remember going there, like, man, I'm really buying this without him. And he was in kind of like a coma for the last from May to June, you know, and just got worse and worse and worse. And here I'm planning stuff. Everybody's so excited, doing bridal showers or wedding showers and all this stuff. And everybody's so excited. People, hey, I'm gonna come in. Invitations are flying. People are coming, RSVPing, and I had like joy, but I wasn't happy. And even like the night before the wedding, it finally had hit me like he's not gonna be at the wedding. Now some of you guys are like, oh come on, some people don't grow up with their dad and whatnot, and you know, there's that. And I'm grateful. But a selfish part of me was saying, you know, I done had a wild childhood, did terrible things, embarrassed the mess out of my dad for so long. But the last 5 years, like I had really turned it around. I got me a serious woman. I got my master's degree. I'm 10 years in my profession. I bought a house, bought a car, like, you know, when you have immigrant parents, you got to do certain things for them to like accept, like, okay, my child is doing good. And I had did these things. And for the last year of my dad's life, especially, the conversations were beautiful. It was like a coach. It was like a friend. I didn't see him as a dad, like authoritarian. Like I didn't see that. I had like a homie. Because what happens with men is as we get older, we become friends with our dad, right? If it's done right. Ideally, he goes from conditioning you and training you and forming you and helping you develop to the latter days. It's kind of like checking up on each other and kind of just like, honestly, all my conversations were me bragging to my dad. We just brag, hey, I'm doing this. And he's like, oh yeah, well, when I did it this way when I was younger. And we went back and forth and a lot of it was fun. I troll, he trolls, he's a jokester and everything. So it hit me that that's not gonna happen, and that hurt. That hurt a lot, a lot, a lot. I remember being in the hotel room before the the night before the wedding by myself, just like sitting on the floor in the dark, and mentally, I go to that space a lot. I feel like I can get to that dark spot easy. Now I'm happy. You get a raise. You get yourself a new car. Your baby comes out. Life is good. Your team wins. Or there's things that bring you joy. Um, you know, makes you happy. And ultimately, I'm a believer, so I believe I have the ultimate joy. But some days I'm just not happy. Just not happy. That being said, um, my dad was a father. He was a husband. He darn near was married to my mom for 48 years, almost did 50. Um, he was a believer. I never saw my dad cry unless it was like at church. Like at church, yeah, he would cry. They'd sing the songs, and he used to like, "Great is thy faithfulness," and like heavy French, and he'd lift his hand and he'd cry. That was the only time. And that was tough. Went to jail and all this stuff, but I I never saw him emotional unless it was about my mom or church. But he taught me that, and I saw that. I obviously, when you have a son, um, or children, they're gonna follow your footsteps. Whatever you show them is what you do. Like a lot of the things that I do for my wife right now, I don't even have to like figure out how I got it. Like I watch my dad do it. I watch my dad do stuff, and then as I got older, I fell into it. He was a leader, um, and a hard worker. And my dad would wake up. He worked for Department of Children and Families, but before that, he would go mow lawns before, right? And then be done at like 8 o'clock, cleaned up, get showered up, and then go to his 9 to 5. Like he just did that every day. And it was like, man. So I grew up watching that. I grew up watching him model that. So guess what I do now? I don't go mow lawns, but I'm a hard worker. I wake up every day, 5 o'clock, exercise, then I go to work, then I podcast, then I DJ, then I speak at conferences, then I manage my other business. Like I watched him work. I didn't see my dad as a lazy person. So now that I got older, I can't deviate from what he taught me. He trained me up a way. So now that I'm older, I cannot depart from that way. That's all I know is to work hard and to love my family. Um, my dad was very intentional about teaching. Very intentional about teaching. I said this funny story at the funeral. When my dad used to mow lawns on Saturdays, I would go with him, and then he'd give me $10. And this is like '98, so like you can imagine, $10 you can get a lot. And I'm from North Miami, right off 6th Ave. I would shake and move with that $10. You know, I'd work with him for the whole day. He'd cut the grass, I'd bag it, and then boom. And you get that $10, you can do everything. I go to the store, I get extra fries, I can go to the pencil store, the supply store at school. Like you have that money, you're the fly guy. Or I save it a couple of times and buy something. Anyways, it was dope. One Saturday, I was watching basketball the night before. I think it was like Kevin Garnett. It's like his rookie year, like second year. I'm watching basketball late night, and Saturday morning, I wake up and my dad gone. He done took off. He done took off. He left me, and I'm like, what? Are you? I get to my mom, like, hey, where's my dad? She's like, oh, he left. So he comes home. And I'm like, hey, man, you left me. He's like, oh, you took too long. Fast forward the next week, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be ready because I had to did a week without the $10. I needed the $10. The next week, I wake up, and I'm eating breakfast at the table. I say, hey, good morning, Daddy. He walks by. He gets in his truck. He goes. I'm like, well, yo, where's he at? That's 2 weeks. He didn't go with me, and now that's another week. I don't have that $20. And so I'm waiting for him to come home that Saturday. And I'm tiptoeing around how I'm gonna tell him. And I'm like, hey, Dad, you know, you left me, and I'm kind of teary eyed. Like, you left me. I needed $10, and I needed to cut the grass. You saw me eating, you didn't. And he looked at me and said, son, this is America. No one's gonna give you a job and wake you up. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was so mad. I ain't really trying to hear that. And he's like, this is America. You have to earn everything and prove yourself. And I was like, whatever, man. I didn't say that. But I was like, whatever. And I walked to my room. The next Saturday, I could not sleep. That Friday night before, I could not sleep. I waited by the door, like, I gotta go. Woke up before everybody, waiting by the door. He walks by, he says, hey, did you eat? I'm like, nah, I gotta go. I'm early. He takes me, we go. Before he even cuts any grass, he stops by the Cuban cafe, gets me a little Cuban sandwich and some coffee. Because Haitians drink coffee at any age. Like, I've been drinking coffee my whole life. It doesn't even matter. But anyways, I go and he's like, listen, man. Like I said, man, this is America. You got to work. And he instilled that work ethic in me, and I still have it. Even though he's gone, I still hear him in my head sometimes. I still hear that. And if I'm blessed to have a son, please, Lord, and y'all pray for that, I want to instill them same kind of lessons. But that taught me about working hard. He also taught me how to like communicate with people. I don't, you know what I mean? I used to sag my pants and then I stopped because like I had a dad. I didn't join a gang, because like I just wanted to be like my dad. I didn't, he got me into sneakers, right? He got me into sneakers. He inspired me. He would always say, you got to have a nice watch on your wrist. You gotta have your nice belt and a nice pair of shoes, and you got to get cologne. Those are the only things my dad would ever buy me. He wouldn't buy me anything else besides those because he knew that's what it meant. He taught me how to shake people's hands. He taught me how to get in a room and greet everybody, and then don't talk. He would say, the more you talk, the more you're liable to say bad things. So make people want to hear you. He taught me that. He said, funniest one, when I got my teaching job. Um, and as you can see in this episode, like whenever I start talking about these things, I tap into that like joy. But he taught me. He said, "Hey, as a teacher, like you're working with all women, don't ever try to date anybody from your job." And he would say things like, "Dress up, smell good. If you see two people talking in the hall, like don't be the third. And if you're talking to somebody and someone joins you, you leave because three people look like they're talking about somebody or they're not working. And you there to work, you're not there to hang out." And he would always tell me, he's like, people that you work with are not your friends. And just different lessons like that. And he said, when you walk the hallways at school, walk with the clipboard. He's old, so that's what he thought. But he's like, iPad, a book or something, and walk fast to your destination. Don't hobnob with people. Like, get to point A to point B. Like, you know what I mean? Care for people. If you see people you work with and they have heavy things, go get it. And if they say no, ignore them. Pick it up. Like, take it out of their hand. Like, open doors for women and don't eat a lot. Don't eat a lot in front of people. Don't get emotional. Don't get angry. Right? Don't yell. Just simple things like that, like these lessons he would teach me. And I was like, yo, like you always got something to say. But now that I got older, it makes sense. It makes sense. He's like, don't let your entrance be large. Come in small. You know what I mean? Look at how people, if everybody's laughing, then laugh. But you don't want to be always the center of attention. You don't want to be the person that's always, you know what I mean? Got everybody in front of you. I'm like, nah, Dad, I want to rap. I'm doing this. And he's like, sure, but like these principles, if you take these principles, if you dress up and smell good, any job, it'll help you. If you don't, if you politic and speak nicely to people and care about people, you could do any job, any profession. It'll be good for you. He taught me these lessons, and I use them till today. Till today. After a year, um, after a year ago, after my dad passed, my wife goes, you should try therapy. And I was like, I don't like therapy. I don't like the idea of sitting with somebody and complaining because that's what I thought it was, right? I thought it was complaining. Uh, it's not. But I found a really, really cool Haitian man, older man, who was also a pastor who was my therapist. And I asked my wife, why do you suggest that? She lost her dad and it did wonders for her, but she was like, you'd be talking in your sleep and then like I'd hear you crying. I'm like, that no, I ain't. But she was truthful, like I was, and I was hurting. So all to say, like I do the therapy, and first thing I did, I tried to fix it myself. I wrote a children's book called Sammy's Shoes. It's about me and my dad, him going with me to Foot Locker, Finish Line, Just for Feet, buying shoes. And I traveled and I went all these schools, these tours, and I read it and I signed sneakers and we had a good time. It was dope, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Because like I told you, I would get to that dark room on the floor moment. Like that's like the moment. Nonetheless, therapy helped a lot because when you work with professionals, professionals can give you strategies on how to cope and how to grieve. Grieving is a science. And grieving is not forgetting what happened. Grieving is properly, grieving is not forgetting what happened. Grieving is properly handling it and compartmentalizing it for time. There are times where I allow myself to sit in the sadness, and that's okay. There are some times it's like, hey, the sadness, you don't want to sit in too long because it could cripple you. But there are some times you can learn from your grieving, learn from the memories. I might tap into something he told me, he said to me, and then live it, and then I could share it, and it can help somebody. I'm hoping this does that to you watching. But I think losing a parent, nobody knows how to grieve, because it's like that was your connection. That was your map, right? That was my GPS. I would ask him things. Nonetheless, if you're out there and you're grieving, I want to tell you that grieving's not bad. Grieving's not. Grieving can actually be beneficial to moving forward in life. Take the pain, take the sadness, and tie them to the memories to empower you moving forward. I'm over time, so let me pray. And if you're watching this and you're grieving, you lost a parent, you lost a relative, you lost a sibling, you lost you lost a child. Golly, you lost a pet. Whatever you're grieving, I want to pray for you, give you some hope. God, we thank you today that even while we grieve, you're there. And you say, cast all of our cares onto you because you care. So God, right now I pray for anybody right now who's struggling, who's sad, who's in sorrow, who's in pain. Maybe it was a sudden death, there was a sudden losing of some sort, God. God, I ask that you would put the right tools around them so they can maneuver through their days, because grieving does not have to be empty. Grieving can be bright. If it's tied with memories, it could be impactful, it could be resourceful, and it could help them move on. So God, I ask you deal with them right now how you see fit. Wrap them around in your arms and love on them and let them know that you care. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you for watching. My name's Sam Rigo. This is Sam Rigo Podcast. Subscribe, comment. I'm going to put some links in the description, previous videos, but I'm also going to put a link of my children's book, Sammy's Shoes. Get a copy. And yeah, let's have a good time. God bless y'all.